Hello everyone, and a warm welcome to this session about co-creating with the European Innovation Council for a greener Europe, where you will discover all you need to know about co-creation within the EIC Greenhouse Gas Programme. My name is Aminda Leigh. I'm a British-Italian journalist and moderator specializing in environmental topics. So I'm especially pleased to be moderating today's discussions organized as part of this first European Innovation Council Summit. To give you some background, this co-creation programme started in January 2021 and will contribute to Europe's goal of becoming the world's first climate neutral continent. How? The scheme helps EIC beneficiaries, in other words, SMEs funded under the EU's Horizon programme, to work together or to work with other companies and organisations on projects to significantly reduce their greenhouse gas emissions, while also co-creating new green products, services and businesses along the way. I'm going to be starting this session by having a fireside chat with the coordinator of the Greenhouse Gas Programme to find out what this co-creation is, how it works, who is involved, and how it supports businesses to green their operations. Then we're going to have two short roundtables featuring people already involved in co-creation projects. First, we'll hear from business partners using the process for chemicals and more sustainable ways of making paper. In the second roundtable, we'll discover a very interesting and highly relevant project in our data-driven world, bringing together a professor of physics from Sweden, a Swiss company working in data storage, and an Austrian business involved in recycling electronic waste. Their peer-to-peer co-creation group aims to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions of our data, an area that actually contributes more to the world's carbon footprint than the airline industry, believe it or not. I will also be running a couple of polls today. I'll explain how they work and how you can access them when we get there, but do keep your mobile devices handy. And speaking of which, we also encourage you to share what you hear on social media using the hashtag EIC Summit 21. We have a lot to get through, so let's start with our first speaker. And I'm now going to be joined by Barbara De Angelis, who is Programme Coordinator of the EIC Greenhouse Programme.
Hello, Aminda.
So let's see Barbara. Welcome, Barbara. And I'd like to just start by asking you, what is this co-creation? What is meant with it? What happens within the Greenhouse Gas Programme on this co-creation?
Okay, so basically under this greenhouse gases program, we have two kinds of co-creation. One kind of co-creation is peer-to-peer. So we try to match beneficiaries with the aim of creating new solutions, so new green solution. The second kind of co-creation is with business partners, and we have different kind of business partners. Like corporates, region going through green transition, and the industry association. And the purpose is the same. So basically we want to gather beneficiaries, but in this kind of cooperation, we want to help them in creating something new with the business partner. And because we have in mind what is the climate context, the climate scenario nowadays, and we think that is very important for companies to become greener and to create green products, because the green becoming greener is becoming a business case, and is very important for strengthening the companies. And this is why we have an increasing demand for green technologies, and we think that this co-creation will give an edge over the competition.
Interesting. And of course, this all feeds into the EU Green Deal, doesn't it?
Of course, basically this program has been shaped having in mind the EU ambitions. So the achievement of climate neutrality and the European Green Deal. So the European, we have committed to this to become the first climate neutral continent by 2050. And what we want as the European Innovation Council is to support our companies in this journey. And so we are trying to tackle with this program the issue and the ambition. We try to help the ambition of the Green Deal in different ways. The first way is through webinars, and we had a session before this one in co-creation. Then we try to co-create, so creating new solutions, a new marketable solution. And we also have a GHG tool. So we offer a GHG tool through which the companies could assess their own carbon footprint, and it's available on the EIC community website.
Okay, so there's a lot of different aspects there, very interesting. And obviously you were talking about competitiveness. The idea is, of course, to make businesses more green and to spread the word and not just keep things within sectors, but spread the expertise. How can this program support upscaling and sustainability of green businesses?
What we do, in fact, is we are offering support through all the process, throughout all the process. So we have coaches that can intervene and help the companies in this co-creation activity. And I mean, in the case they need any suggestion and they're stuck and they cannot proceed, move forward with the project, they can rely on our coaches. And this is how we want to help them in upscaling. But we also want to help the companies to scale up their businesses. And so this is why through this, let's say, matchmaking with business partner, we offer them the possibility to pitch in front of investors, in front of this business partner. And in this way, of course, in sort of investors, and because sometimes the small and medium enterprise lack of capital to scale up their business, their innovation, and so this is a good way to promote synergies between our beneficiaries and the big corporates that maybe need a special expertise, and so we can provide them through our network.
Thank you very much. And Barbara, we'll be hearing from you again at the end of the session, where you're going to be explaining how you, the audience, can too become co-creators in the future as well. And so to find out what all this means in practice, we're now going to hear from some people who've already embarked on this journey with our first roundtable, looking at co-creation projects with business partners. But first, as you can see on the screen, I'd like to launch a quick poll. So as you can see the instructions, you just go to menti.com in your browser and then pop in the code 29173559, and there should miraculously appear a question for you. I'm going to show the question on the screen as well, so you can see what we're going to be asking you. Is your organization currently developing a product or service that can potentially reduce greenhouse gas emissions? And you have three options. You can either say yes, no, or no, but we're willing to do it. I'm going to leave that poll open for a while to give you time to log in and answer the question. And in the meantime, we're going to see who the speakers are for our first round table. We have Diogo Mendes, who is Technical Security and Climate Change Director at Bondalti. And we have Annita Westenbroeks, serving as the Energy Innovations Manager at the European Association for the Paper Industry, Cepi, whose members cover 22% of global paper production. To give you a bit of background on their initiatives, Bondalti is the biggest Portuguese producer in the chemical sector, and it's looking to co-create projects to prevent industrial emissions, develop eco-friendly chemicals, and sustainably manage energy, among other things. And while the paper industry, represented in Europe by Cepi, is world champion in recycling with rates at around 72%, it is nonetheless looking for ways to reduce its emissions, especially during the production process for drying paper. Before we hear from them, let's have a look at the results of our poll. We haven't given you long to answer, but let's see. We've had actually no answers. Can you believe? No, now we can see some answers. That's good. I'm also going to answer as well. So we've got a number of people who are not doing this right now, but are willing to do it, the majority. That's good. We've also got 4 people who are doing it already. So that's exciting. And we've got people, 4 of them who are saying no. Well, hopefully by the end of this session, you will have changed some of your minds about that, and you'll either move into the no, but we're willing to do it. That would be great to see more people. And I can see the numbers are already going up there. We have 8 people who've replied. Thank you for answering this poll. I know it takes time to get in and log in. We also have 6 now who are doing it. So it's almost becoming neck and neck with those willing to. That's all about this process. It's an idea of trying to matchmake an idea of a problem with people who can come up with potential solutions. So thank you for voting on that poll. I'm now going to close that, and let's welcome our speakers for this session. So Diogo and Annita, welcome to you both. I'm going to start with you, Diogo, from Bondalti. How is your approach, what you're looking to do, contribute to the green agenda? And why does participation in this co-creation program, why is it a thing that makes sense for your company?
Hi, Aminda, good morning, everyone. Well, first, let me thank to the EIC for this invitation. And it's really a pleasure to be part of such events where European startups, corporates, and innovators come together. Just a few words of context first about Bondalti. Bondalti is the biggest Portuguese producer in the chemical business. We produce organic chemicals such as aniline, nitrobenzene, and other derivatives, and also inorganic chemicals such as the chloralkali products that we use every day. Due to the products that we produce at our industrial sites, Bondalti is embedded in many strategic value chains, and therefore we supply intermediate products to other sectors, and therefore the carbon footprint of our products has a significant impact in the final products of our clients. So as an energy-intensive industry, we are heavily dependent on fossil fuels, and therefore we have a significant carbon footprint that we need to reduce. So in 2020, we launched our climate transition program, and in there we accept the challenge of transformation and to contribute to the long-term strategy defined by the EU for a sustainable economy with a climate-neutral impact. Our climate transition program has clear objectives to mitigate the climate change, as well as to contribute to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And I would highlight the 2 most important ones: to be carbon neutral by 2030 and to be climate neutral by 2050. So for a chemical industry like ours, these are really big challenges. And these challenges, to be overcome, they will require not only internal investments, but also innovations, internal innovations, but most importantly, we need the collaboration with other agents, startups, innovators, entrepreneurs, in order to reach our ambitious objectives. In that sense, the EIC ecosystem is fantastic because it's a pool comprised by 6,000 companies that have already been selected and validated through the EU funding mechanisms. And out of these, we actually selected around 20 companies that aim to deliver solutions that meet our challenges. So this is really a fantastic opportunity for us.
20 companies, that's a lot of companies that you've identified. I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you're doing in a moment, but I want to also now turn to Annita and ask you, you're obviously at the beginning of the journey, it's all quite new for everyone, but what has made an impression on you so far in this co-creation process? You're muted.
I think I'm
not. You're fine now. Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Diogo also already mentioned that it's the enormous amount of companies behind this EIC GHG program that can actually potentially help us with innovations. And maybe it's also just to give an introduction. I manage the innovations manager at Cepi. And about 2 years ago, Cepi started the Energy Solutions Forum as a means to support our members, and which are the pulp and paper manufacturers in Europe, to help decarbonizing. And the thing is that they all have this ambition. We all have the big ambitions to reduce our carbon emissions, to halve them for 2030 and to become carbon neutral in 2050. But this is not easy. And if you look in our sector, most of the technologies that we use are not developed by our sector, but they are developed by our suppliers. Which means that if we want to reduce, we also need innovative suppliers with innovative technologies that help us in the different parts of the process. And just telling our current suppliers, like, okay, we want a more efficient technology, that's not how it works. So we need to have the smart brains out there that can help us. And I think that is what we were impressed about. We have set some challenges, and especially on energy efficiency, on heat recovery, and we got quite a lot of responses. And I have to say that well, more than 70% we had to well, set aside because they were not relevant for the challenges we set. But we said, well, it's not that they are not interested, because we have many other innovation fields where they may be interested. And I'm happy to say that from next year, Cepi will be active also more on the other innovation areas. So I would be happy to continue also the cooperation with EIC on the other innovation areas. Because it's not only about energy or carbon reduction, it's also about new kind of feedstock, additives, products, logistics, etc. So I'm really impressed about the amount of innovations that are out there. And I think it's also crucial, looking at this program, that it's crucial that the industry is made aware of this. And I think that is the good thing of this whole program, is that well, the European Commission may stimulate the development of those kind of innovations. If we as industry are not aware of them, then it will never be implemented. And that's, of course,
I mean, that's always the problem.
About this, that's what I see as the big benefit of this program, is to make the connection, not about the further development, but really about the connection, so that you get a further co-creation of this. And
bringing back in Diogo, we're talking about the connection, we're talking about competitiveness, we're talking about the huge pool of expertise that you have available for you. What is your company aiming to achieve during this co-creation journey, and how will you know that you've been successful?
Well, Cepi is not.
This was for. I can ask you that in a minute. I'll ask Diego first.
Now I understand. Now I understand. Yes, good. Diego.
Thanks, Aminda. Thanks, Annita. Well, during the co-creation journey, our main objective is to stimulate an open dialogue with this amazing set of innovators, entrepreneurs, and get inspired by their ingenious and creativity to resolve our problems. I believe a successful participation in this program will be, well, the creation of win-win solutions, where we can work together with these innovators, startups, and SMEs, and combine their quickness, their agility to create solutions, with our ability to test these technologies in an industrial context, scale them, and later get access to the market. So I think these are the drivers where we would like to and aim in this program.
It sounds like a fantastic, let's say, marriage of competencies and expertise. Annita, from your side?
Yeah, well, we are not a company, so we made the connections to some of our companies. I have to say that we were quite unfortunate that we had to run it during summer. So the whole process ran during summer. So I think we would have definitely had far more success if we could have delayed it a few months and run it now. because we were limited. So I think maybe we have to repeat it once for the energy, but as I also told you, we would like to do it also for some of our other innovation businesses. And the whole dialogue where Diogo start talking about that is something that is taking place between the SMEs and our companies. And in fact, we are also not allowed to know.
Okay, I see. Well, Diogo, Annita, thank you. I'm going to have to stop that here. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Even though you've just started on the path, it sounds very exciting, and also with many other possible journeys to come up as well. Thank you. And for those of you watching, please do share what you're hearing as well on social media using the hashtag EIC Summit 21. We're now going to move to our second roundtable, this time looking at peer-to-peer co-creation between EIC beneficiaries. The project we're going to be featuring looks at how to eliminate data storage hardware waste through nanosensor technology, and also to reduce the energy use of data storage. And this is particularly significant when you consider that the annual energy consumption of data storage racks and servers around the globe is currently greater than Germany. And we're only at the start of our data age right now. So I'm going to begin this section with another poll. Let's go and see the polling details as to how to log in again. Just in case you didn't see it the first time, go to menti.com and type in 2917 3559. And the question should appear on your screens. And the question this time is, would you accept the challenge of collaboratively co-creating the best cost-effective solutions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions? And you've got three options to choose from. And I'll let you read them for yourselves on the screen, but there are various options as to how you would like to get involved. While I leave that poll running, I'm going to introduce our speakers and see who we've got on this roundtable. We're going to be hearing from Alessandra, also known as Sasha Dmitriev, who is full professor of the Department of Physics at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden. Hello. We have Bhupinder, who is the CEO of a data management and storage company called Swiss Vault. We'll see him in a moment. And we have Stefan Konetschnik, who is co-founder and managing director at UrbanGold, which recycles waste electrical and electronic equipment. You probably know it more as WE. I'm going to come to them in a second, but I've given you a chance to vote for the poll, and let's try and see if you've managed to log in and see the results. So we have, at the moment, we have lots of people who are saying they would love to co-create a solution to reduce third parties' greenhouse gas emissions. We have 4 people saying, I would help in finding the right co-creation counterparts, which sounds very interesting from what we've already heard. And we don't have anyone who's saying that they don't think that co-creation is the right approach for their organization, which is very encouraging. So we have lots of people, we have 12 people all gathered together in the I would love to co-create. And hopefully our speakers, once you've heard the next round table, you'll be even more of you on that side, also wanting to get involved in co-creation, not just helping counterparts, though of course that is useful too. So that was good. Thank you very much. I'm now going to close that poll. And let's see our speakers. Here we are. There are all of you. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to start off with Sasha Dmitriev. Can you tell us more about this co-creation project and also its overall objective and what your role is in it?
Yes, thank you, Aminda. And as you mentioned in the introduction, we're actually facing this enormous mountain of electronic waste that is soon, with the current growth rate, will be 70 million tons per year. And let's not forget that it's worth $57 billion a year, that mountain. So we'd rather bring it back and use it somehow. And so our aim is simply to basically 100% recycling or use of that huge mountain, all the produced electronics that we're throwing away currently. And so we're going to do that by using optical nanosensors on basically everything from racks to the printed boards to identify materials and different components to allow this proper recycling and reuse. And in the further future, we really want to create a roadmap for any electronic producer, basically, that allows to make electronics made to be recycled. So we want to restructure the electronics with the help of these nanosensors, such that it is produced already to be recycled properly.
So right at the design phase. Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Stefan Konetschnik, what is the different kinds of expertise have you brought together for this project?
So well, it is important to cover all aspects within the team which are relevant, and not relying on external experts for that. So Sasha and his team, they are the experts in the core area of the technology, what is developed, but they're coming from a completely different branch, so the physics. Swisswald is a potential user of the technology, of the solution for the products, and our expertise is the recycling industry. So it is our task to define the position of the solution in the recycling industry, to make a benchmark, to assess it, and to talk about the impact of the new technology to the recycling market. And yeah, well, this makes us the right team for this project. That's it.
You've actually only got to know each other in the last couple of months, so it's all quite new. But looking forward to the future, hopefully you've had a successful project. And Bhupinder, Bhullar, if you are successful, what will be the impact on greenhouse gas emissions?
Well, thank you for the question, Aminda. And Sasha just mentioned about the electronic waste, and I think we have to understand that data has a massive carbon footprint. I mean, most people are really unaware of this. Data, as you mentioned in your introduction, contributes 3.7% of the global carbon emissions. That's way more than the airline industry. And it's our habits. We send an email with an attachment. It's the same carbon footprint as a small plastic bag. And we use 100,000 plastic bags a second globally, but we send 3.5 million emails per second. So it's really out of whack. And as it's growing exponentially, we need more and more of these servers to store this data. So I'll just stress one problem that the consortium is addressing is the life cycle of these electronic waste as they contribute to e-waste and greenhouse gas emissions. So we're looking at there's all these precious metals have to be mined and then be manufactured. And what we're looking at is how can we reduce that electronic waste mountain that's contributing by reducing that millions of tons, reducing the extracting value of billions of euros just of precious metals. So the project will enable electronics to work longer in data centers, as Sasha mentioned, because we're looking at system failures, but also reduce the electronic waste by millions of tons by making it easier to recycle and repurpose these systems, and by also working with the experts that Stefan brings in here and his team at UrbanGold.
I mean, it's amazing, actually, the whole idea of, our data being dirty and we just don't think about it. This is a very exciting project. And how is this going to help let's say, the future of either your companies or, in your case, Sasha, your university group? How is this going to, let's say, help you develop in your spheres?
So for us as the university, I mean, our purpose is actually education and research, and also reaching out to the public. So this is our way reaching back to the society that actually funds us. I mean, it's the taxpayers that are funding us. So it's our duty to get back to the society and sort of transform the fundamental research that we bring forward in our labs to a real product. And this is where it gets really exciting for us.
Exactly, joining up academia with business and actually seeing your projects come to life. Yes,
yeah,
your
absolutely.
research. And for you, Bhupinder and Stefan?
Stefan, you want to go first?
Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah. So basically, it's our strategy to strengthen our position as an independent expert in the recycling industry, especially in the WE industry. So participation in such a pioneering project is the key for our long-term success. That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and of course, I mean, we heard earlier on about the competitiveness as well. I mean, that's also very important. And Bhupinder, from your point of view?
Well, I think I hope that this brings us leadership for all of our groups in different spheres. But it's first of all, we produce data storage hardware and software. So as you mentioned earlier, we are working to reduce the energy consumption and the space by a tremendous amount, not just a little bit, by quite a bit. 10 times energy reduction, 14 times space reduction. But we're focusing also on reducing the electronic waste. And that's the ideal goal. How do you get to zero waste of a product? So the consortium will help us to get closer to that goal. So we want to lead the industry by zero waste data storage systems. And those customers who are looking for sustainable ways to manage the data, reduce their carbon footprint, we hope we can help them do that sustainably.
So hopefully that this co-creation process will give you all things that you can then also maybe pass on to other industries and spread the let's say this green approach. It's not just going to be stuck with your project and staying there. One last thing, what advice would you give anyone who's kind of considering doing this co-creation? What would you say to them?
I can start, and I would say that each organization should probably do a self-assessment, first of all, to figure out from top to bottom, and Barbara mentioned the introduction about self-assessment tools that are available for determining one's greenhouse gas footprint. It's a great start. For high-tech companies building a physical product, look at the full life cycle of the product. That's critical, how your customers experience the product, and which is what we did. And from this assessment, our team was very aware of what to look out for in partners to reduce our product's carbon footprint. And as they say, chance favors the prepared mind. So programs like the greenhouse gas program was actually perfect because it introduced us to like-minded partners. And we see the opportunity right away to work with Sasha. And the EIC program also helped us find additional partners like Stefan at UrbanGold. So we were ready to jump on the opportunity.
Excellent. Okay, Stefan, advice?
Yeah. So, well, there are so many perfect ideas worldwide available, but we are very often focused on our own branch, on our own sector, which we are active in. So my advice is first of all to look around, to think about other sectors, other branches for our ideas, and of course to find partners which complement our own competence. And they also need to critically question our ideas. That's very important. Otherwise, we would go in the wrong direction. That's nothing we would like to.
Interesting what you say about critically being critical. Sometimes people don't like to, they're afraid to do that if you're in a new situation with other people, but so it's good that you're saying that you should jump in and be critical. And Sasha, from your point of view?
Yes, from the side of academic innovators, I would say that no matter how small or big or niche or global your ideas might seem to be, just bring them forward, participate in the greenhouse gas meetups, and you will find exactly like-minded partners to realize these ideas, just exactly how we did, not knowing each other just 2 months ago. So go for it.
And the project obviously continues from here. What are the next steps? What are the, let's say, what's going to be the first big milestone that you're hoping to reach?
Well, for us, I think the first one is the redesign of our system. Then we'll do a self-assessment of the products. So we work together, and then looking at the first phase, which is redesigning the printed circuit boards. I think that's the first one that we can take a look at. It's easy to grab as a concrete problem that we can work around. So the first milestone, I think, is just try to do an assessment of the first ones. And Sasha's already started, in fact, in his team, looking at labeling these products, these printed, their motherboards or printed circuit boards. And then we hope to look at, with UrbanGold, how effectively it recycles. Then we can begin with the redesign journey, basically.
Okay, and it sounds like it's already moving forward. I mean, do you think it's difficult to project forward. How long do you think the solution will take to come to market?
Well, yeah, somebody else take that.
Depends how hard you all work, I suppose, and how fast you get on with things.
Well, the recycling industry it will be quite interesting to bring a new product into a quite a conservative industry. So we need to work on that. But I think the technology is great. It's ready, and we will do that within the next couple of months, years.
Okay, Sasha, from the let's say the academic research kind of point of view, how far off do you think we are from your solution?
Yeah, we should be aware that we're bringing fundamental nanotechnology together with the established electronics, bringing it also to a conservative industry. So, but the prospect looked really bright. I mean, we already in practice working on bringing our nanosensors, which are sort of sized from millimeters to micrometers, to the print boards that the Swiss Volt is producing, and then hopefully we might construct like pilot lines for recycling all that. And so, I mean, that's within the reach. Maybe, I don't know, half a year, 1 year, where we're getting there.
I should mention that Sasha's been been a bit modest, because one of the things that we can allow is that here is a methodology to show a proof of concept methodology, how others can do this as well using these nanosensors, for instance. So I think that'll be a great outcome already, a methodology for anyone to sort of download and run a program once we show it.
Wow. Yes, that's amazing. So it's kind of going to be, you know, sharing your findings with other people as well. So right. Yeah, very, very important. Spreading the good practices and the innovative practices. Interesting, you both talk about conservative industries, but obviously not so conservative. They've got people in there who are innovators like you. So I think there's hope there, and good luck with your communications. Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for your contributions.
Thank you.
And we're now going to move towards the conclusion of this session, because I'm going to bring back Barbara De Angelis, who's the coordinator of the EIC Greenhouse Gas Programme. And she's going to spend a few minutes just telling us about what's coming up next, and some of the co-creation opportunities and information that you need, that you can get involved. Since we saw so many of you were keen to get involved, Barbara, please tell people how they can actually get involved from here.
Of course. Thank you, Aminda. First of all, I want to thank you, Aminda, for this moderation, and to thank everyone, because they brought their hands-on experience, and they basically told us that the program is effective. So we have good results, and this is what we want to achieve. And yes, and after this, I want to tell you to keep an eye on the website, on the EIC community website, because we will have new open calls for co-creation starting from next year. Actually, next week we will have the kickoff with the Bondalti next Monday, and starting from next year, so we will have new open calls with Stara Zagora, the region of Stara Zagora, Trelleborg, Electrolux, Olcim, and so keep an eye on it if you are interested in joining this co-creation process. And also, we will have webinars, new webinars for the next year, and one on the 15th of December about electric and hybrid vehicles, and new in pipeline for the new year. And also, I really suggest you to use the tool and to try to assess your own carbon footprint emission. And I think I've said everything. And so thanks to everyone for participating and for your interest in our program.
Thank you. And it's interesting what you say about using that greenhouse gas calculation tool, tying in from what we heard before, because to actually get it prepared for the co-creation process, actually that tool is fundamental to help you assess all your emissions in your businesses and see where you can, where you need to find solutions, and then you can start looking through the databases. So yes, that's very interesting. And the tool it's easy to use, isn't it, Barbara?
Yes, of course. And if some of you, it's at the EIC Summit in Brussels. Actually, we have a stand where we have an expert that can help you going through the tool, so can explain you directly how you can fill it in with the data. But it's very easy to use. It will take you 20 minutes. So yes.
Okay, so make sure you allot some time to fill it in. Yes. I haven't used your tool, but I've used another similar one, and I know that it can take some time to calculate things and ask you questions that you'd never even thought of. So quite eye-opening, just that process as well. Right, we're coming to the end of the session. I would just, I'd like to ask our speakers, I'm going to give one last opportunity. We've had some words of advice from our peer-to-peer group, and I'm just wondering whether Annita and Diogo, maybe you would like to give some advice to people who are interested from the company side, who are interested. You've talked about the opportunities, but maybe a little bit of a quick word of advice. Diogo, advice to companies that would like to get involved in this process?
Just apply and go for it, and just be open, and just tell us what you do, what are your ideas, how you would see us to solve the problems we have. We are really open and willing to collect your ideas, your ingenuous to overcome our challenges. Please go for it.
Thank you. Annita?
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I think there are two kinds of companies. So my advice to the companies like our members, our experiences, don't limit yourself too much, because we have set a clear target and this is what we want. We want technologies that can do this or this, but we got other technologies. Completely other technologies, but they were as valuable. So because we are in such a framework, like this is what we want and it should fit in there, while there are also many technologies or many solutions that we never thought of that do not fit within the frame that we think that we need. So that was my advice, like companies like, well, us or Bondalti and any others that do hire or do connect to EIC, don't limit yourself to the specific challenge you think you have, but broaden up, because there is much more. So we still have a list that did not fit within our challenge, but is still interesting. And to the companies that do have technologies, I would really say, think about how to sell yourself also. And this may also be something that the EIC office could help with. Because what I heard afterwards from our companies, like, okay, well, some of the abstracts, well, we got not really impressed about, but when they started talking about the technologies, answering our questions, it appeared far more interesting than we thought on beforehand. And selling what you have and the benefits of your technologies is something that is difficult if you are an expert in your technology. But
yeah, so marketing. Yes, marketing is also important.
Indeed. So my advice, especially to the group of Barbara, is think about this. Think about helping them with the right way of marketing. And marketing is like, oh, my technology is so good. No, that's not what you should do, because that is what we saw, what was written. But really marketing your technology is giving a bit more of the achievement of the technological background behind, because this is what triggers companies. But anyhow, this is just an advice, because there is more opportunity behind than we thought based on some abstracts that were written by the companies themselves.
Okay, well, that's good. So for those of you who are putting in your company profiles, make sure that you sell them properly. And for those reading them, try and dig deeper and understand the potential. As you say, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And so therefore, this is also part of the voyage of discovery. Okay, well, thank you very much indeed.
Aminda. Yes, well summarized. You don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
Could be the subtitle of EIC, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much to Diogo and Annita for coming back for that. Thank you to our other three speakers, Bhupinder, Stefan and Sasha. And thanks to Barbara for guiding us through the program and telling us all about it. I do hope that you've been stimulated and intrigued and you would like to start your own co-creation projects and ideas from here. To conclude, apart from thanking our speakers, I would also like to wish them good luck and hope that their projects do find solutions that can be developed, implemented and upscaled and spread around to help make Europe greener, and why not the world greener too. Thanks to the organizers for bringing us together to find out more about this important co-creation process within the EIC Greenhouse Gas Programme. And thanks to the technicians for ensuring that everything ran smoothly. My final thanks goes to you, the audience. Thank you for participating in the polls and thank you for listening and following us today. And with that, this is me, Aminda Leigh, signing off and wishing you a productive summit.